Welcome back to today's Explainer. We've got a truly wild one to unpack today. One that honestly plays out less like a dry military history lesson and way more like a high-stakes, brilliantly scripted historical heist. We are traveling back in time to look at an incredible strategic puzzle faced by Sultan Saladin Ayyubi. We're going to break down exactly how he conquered a fortress that literally defied the geography of warfare. We're talking about a target so incredibly well defended, it seemed to defy logic itself. So get comfortable, and let's break down the mechanics of the Siege of Sone.
So, can any fort be truly invincible? It's a question engineers and commanders have literally obsessed over for centuries, right? Well, the defenders of our fortress today, they absolutely thought so. They were completely blinded by their own geographical advantages, falling right into the trap of ultimate hubris. They honestly believed nature itself had built an unsolvable puzzle around them. But as we're about to see, when supposed invincibility meets wildly innovative, out-of-the-box thinking, the results are explosive.
Section 1. The Floating Castle, a Geographic Illusion.
We're talking about the Castle of Sone over in Syria. Now, this wasn't just your standard fortress built on a hill. It was surrounded by a trench so unbelievably massive and deep that it basically tricked your eyes. I mean, based on the historical accounts we're looking at, the sheer scale of this drop created a literal optical illusion. The castle actually looked like it was suspended in midair. Picture that for a second. It looked completely detached from the earth. The chasm was so vast and intimidating, people actually said not even a bird could safely cross it. It's like staring at this massive stone behemoth just floating there, across an impossible void.
Section 2. The Crusaders' Pride, mocking the enemy.
And this setup perfectly highlights the massive psychological and tactical gap between the two sides. Inside, you've got the Crusaders. Their commander is 100% sure that no army on Earth could ever cross that trench. They're feeling so untouchable, wrapped up in these high walls and this terrifying void, that they are literally standing up on the ramparts just openly mocking the Muslim army down below. Then flip the perspective. Outside, you've got the Sultan's army. They're staring across at this floating fortress, completely trapped behind this massive chasm. They're dealing with a geographic disadvantage so severe that literally every traditional siege tactic in the book is entirely useless. It is a total, absolute stalemate.
Moving on to Section 3. An impossible strategic decision. Rewriting warfare rules. Because here's the thing about traditional siege warfare. It operates on a very basic set of rules, right? You attack from below, you build ladders, you fill in the moat, you roll up the siege towers, or you bash the gates in with a ram. You bridge the gap. But the Sultan's engineers are staring at a gap that is fundamentally, geographically impossible to cross. The physical space you'd need to launch a normal assault just doesn't exist. Now, most human minds, they hit that wall and retreat. But Sultan Salahuddin Ayyubi was definitely not your typical commander. And this brings us to an absolute paradigm shift. The Sultan gives an order that just completely defies standard logic. He says, we won't attack from below, but from above. It sounds almost like a riddle, right? But back then, this kind of thinking was totally off the map, just beyond normal reasoning. He basically realized, hey, if the ground level is unplayable, we just have to change the entire axis of the battlefield. If the enemy is relying on you coming from the bottom up, you completely rewrite the rules of engagement and come at them from the top down. Section 4. The Knight's Engineering Miracle, Under Cover of Darkness. This is where the pure, unadulterated grit of the story comes in. That night, history witnessed something truly unbelievable. The Sultan's soldiers didn't have modern heavy machinery. They had incredibly thick, heavy ropes, the raw physical strength of their bodies, and their bare shoulders. Under the cover of pitch-black darkness and in absolute silence so they wouldn't tip off the mocking guards across the void, they hauled these massive, unbelievably heavy mangonels. These are colossal medieval siege engines, by the way, all the way up the adjacent mountain peak. And not just any peak. They specifically chose one that sat even higher than the seemingly untouchable floating castle. They spent the entire night meticulously setting up this devastating trap, locking their heavy artillery into position right before the first light of dawn. Section 5. Gravity's Deadly Strike, the Explosive Climax. Can you imagine the absolute shock? The Crusaders wake up, they stroll out onto their walls, probably getting ready to yell some more insults across the gap, and they look up. And right there, looming directly over their heads on a mountain peak they basically thought was irrelevant, are the Sultan's massive siege engines. The trap is completely sprung. All the Sultan had to do was give the signal.
Now, what's really fascinating here is the sheer physics of what happened next. The Sultan didn't just find a new angle, he literally weaponized gravity itself. Think about it. Traditional catapults fight against gravity, right? You lob stones up and over a wall, and they lose momentum the higher they go. But here, these heavy stones were being fired top down. The historical accounts emphasize how gravity just took over, essentially doubling the downward speed and the destructive velocity of these massive projectiles. The kinetic energy was absolutely off the charts. These weren't just rocks hitting stone walls anymore. It was like meteorites raining straight down from above, effortlessly tearing and smashing right through the very roofs of the castle.
So the core takeaway from this explainer is crystal clear. The very thing the Crusaders built all their pride on, their altitude, that untouchable high ground, was conquered because the Sultan simply found an even higher vantage point. It wasn't just a victory of having better machinery. It was a victory of superior perspective. The Sultan's high-level thinking, combined with the immense courage and crazy physical endurance of his soldiers to actually pull it off, completely shattered the Crusaders' entire illusion of invincibility.
So I want to leave you with this final thought to chew on. It's super easy to look at our own problems like that massive, uncrossable trench, right? They seem impossible, overwhelming, and totally immune to all our usual tactics. But the Siege of Sion teaches us that sometimes you just can't attack the problem from below. You have to change your elevation. How can you apply this kind of higher thinking to bypass the impenetrable obstacles in your own life? What mountain do you need to climb in the dark to completely rewrite the physics of your situation? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this sparked some new ideas for you, and until next time, keep looking for that higher vantage point.